Hello everyone, welcome to this last lecture of week 7 for this course Matrix and Analytics of Marketing. As we know that we had been discussing throughout these weeks regarding various metrics associated with product and portfolio management. In today's class we will be discussing about a very important topic, that is about conjoint utilities. We will talk about consumer preferences, we will talk about segmentation and volume projections. First, let us try to understand how consumers make their choice. Consumer choice for a product is a function of the importance that the consumer put on various attributes and attributes levels. Let me give you an example. Let us say I want to purchase a car, right. For a car, one attribute can be color, another attribute can be engine performance, another attribute can be price. So, in this case let us say for color I will have 3 attribute levels. For the attribute color I will have 3 attribute level. One is black, let us say red and white. I as a customer, my preference is for the black color and I am ready to pay a premium over white color or red color, right. But my first preferred attribute is, let us say my first important is performance. Performance is my of utmost priority, followed by color, followed by price. Now, how I will evaluate this product? So, first thing I will check that the engine of my car has to be above, let us say 2 liter. Now, so there can be 2 liter engine, there can be 1.5 liter engine, there can be 1 liter engine, right. So, if it is 2 liter engine, my score is this much. If the color is black, my score is this much. So, depending on this, let us say I have 3 attributes and each of these attribute will have 3 attribute levels. Then in that case, I as a customer will have 3 into 3 into 3, that is 81 choices in front of me, but out of this 81 choices I will pick one, and this picking up is dependent on the scores that I associate with each of this attribute and each of this attribute level. Conjoint analysis basically tries to understand this phenomenon, that tries to understand the customer wants by calculating these scores. Let us dive more into conjoint analysis. Basically, it is a method estimating the customers by assessing the overall preferences customers assign to various alternative choices. As in my example, I will have 81 choices in front of me, and out of these 81 choices, which one will be my first preference? That 2 liter engine with black color, which is priced at 20 lakhs rupees, right. So, this is my first. Let us say second one is 2 liter engine white color and which is priced at 20 lakhs rupees. This is my second option, and so on. So, out of 80, though theoretically there will be 81 options, possible options, but as a customers I will only evaluate between, let us say 10 choices, 10 combinations, right. Conjoint analysis can be useful in determining what customers really want, and when price is included as an attribute, what they will pay for. So, two things can be derived at the same time. One is what they are expecting to get, what is their want, and what they are ready to sacrifice, means what is the amount that they are going to pay. Conjoint utilities measure the consumer's preferences for an attribute level, and then by combining the valuations of multiple attribute measure preference for an overall choice. In launching new products, marketers find such analysis useful for achieving a deeper understanding of the values that customers place on various product attributes. Throughout the product management, conjoint utilities can help the marketers focus their efforts on attributes of greatest importance to the customers. So, if you do a proper conjoint analysis, then in that case you will be able to understand the customer's expectations, and then probably you can come up with a better value proposition or better product proposition. Most of the time conjoint analysis is done at an individual level, but at some I mean in special cases it can also be done at the segment level, right. Now let us look into the purpose of conjoint analysis and consumer preferences. As we have already said that the primary purpose of conjoint analysis is to understand what customers want. It is a method used to estimate the customer preferences based on how customers weight the attributes on which the choice is being made. The premise of conjoint analysis is that customers' preferences between product options can be broken into a set of attributes that are weighted to form the overall evaluation. How customers evaluate a product is based on a set of attributes. Remember that different customers will have different weightage or different importance put for different attributes. Let us say for me the highest priority attribute can be price, for you the highest priority attribute can be performance, or somebody else the highest priority attribute can be color of the car, right. So, a model can be developed to compare sets of attributes to determine which represents the most appealing bundle of attributes for the customers. So, out of this 81 choices, which one is the most important? Conjoint analysis is a technique commonly used to assess the attributes of a product or service that are important to target customers and to assist in the following aspects. So, one is designing of the product based on customer wants regarding various attributes associated with the product. Then how to make an appeal to the customers, which attributes, which attribute levels should be emphasized more in our appeal. Then pricing, what should be the price point for the product. Then segmentation and forecasting. So, based on this understanding, once we understand the customers want, once we understand what we can offer to the customers, we can definitely have a base for segmentation. At the same time, we can also forecast the upcoming demand. So, by definition, it is a method of estimating customers by assessing the overall preferences customers assign to alternative choices. An individual's preference can be expressed as a total of his or her baseline preferences for any choice plus the part words. So, part words are basically nothing but these are numerical utility scores representing the specific value of a consumer assigned to each of these levels of the product attributes. So, product attribute can be brand, product attribute can be price, product attribute can be performance, product attribute can be color. So, in a linear form, this conjoint preference can be represented with part word. So, the formula can take this form: part word of attribute 1 to individual I multiplied by attribute level 1 plus part word of attribute 2 to individual I multiplied by attribute level 2. So, for example, it is similar like, let us say I will just explain it with the example. So, what is the emphasis I am putting for attribute performance? Let us say it is my top priority. So, weightage is let us say 50%. So, out of 50%, if it is the performance, which particular performance I am talking about or emphasizing? Is it I am preferring 2 liter engine or 1.5 liter or 1.5? Then it is 50% multiplied by the importance put to each of this attribute level. Similarly, for color, let us say my weightage that is put for color is 20%. So, out of 20%, I am giving a score of 80% to this one black color, 10%, 15% to white color, and let us say 5% to pink color, right. So, this way we will multiply it and calculate the overall score for different attributes and attributes levels associated with a individual customer. Look at this. So, 2 attributes of a cell phone, its price and its size, are ranked through conjoint analysis yielding the results shown in the table. So, remember that Attributes, I mean when we talk about an attribute such as price, the preference is very clear. In most of the cases, the lesser the price, my preference will be higher for common market, but there are some exceptional cases which we are not discussing about. But let us say another attribute when we talk about the size. For somebody big size is preference, for somebody else it is a smaller size which is preferred. So this is the way we should actually look into the attributes and attributes levels, how we can capture the data. For example, when I talk about the price attribute, price if it is leveled at 100, then I am giving a preference of 90%, perfect for me in terms of price. Then price $200, not so okay for me, but given a chance that all other attributes perform better, I am still okay with this one. So it is 0.1. Then price $300, I have a negative sentiment for this pricing point, right. Then similarly for size, if it is small 0.7, if it is medium minus 0.1, and if it is large it is minus 0.6, right. So this is how we can put the this one part word. So basically what we are trying to do here is, if you sum up all the part words for each of these attributes, it will give you a value of 0, means we are just normalizing the part words. A small phone for $100 has the part word to customers of 0.6, 1.6, right. So it is derived from 0.9 plus 0.7. So 0.9 is associated with my this one price, and 0.7 is associated with my size, right. So it will have a total part word to the customer as 1.6. This is the highest result observed in this exercise. So this combination will have the highest result, right. A small but expensive phone is rated at minus 0.3, that is minus 1 plus 0.7, that is minus 0.3. So this way we can calculate various combinations, the score associated with various available combinations. On this basis, we determine the customer whose views are analyzed here would prefer a medium size phone which is priced at $200 and will have an utility 0, and to a small phone which is priced at $300, utility is minus 0.3. Such information will be instrumental to decisions concerning the trade-off between product design and price. So I design a product and then I come up with a pricing strategy, right. So I can make a trade-off. Let us say if I have to manufacture a small phone, then I will not have any option than increase the price above $100, right. So I as a marketer, I as a manufacturer can make a choice understanding that customers' preferences. Remember that customers will not always get the highest combination, will not get the most preferred product. So if this is so, probably I will end up, I want a Fortuner at the price of 10 lakhs rupees. Company cannot provide it, but that is my first preference, but I am also okay if I can get it in, let us say 30 lakhs rupees. My utility will be reduced, but it is okay, it is still acceptable. This analysis also demonstrates that within the range examined, price is the more important than size from the perspective of the consumers. Price generates a range of effects from 0.9 to minus 1. So overall range is in terms of price is 1.9, while the effects generated by the most and least desirable sizes span a range only between 0.7 to minus 6, that is 1.3. So in this case, range for price is higher than range for size. So in a way what we can say is that for this particular product, for this particular phone industry, price is more sensitive than size. Now let us talk about segmentation using conjoint analysis. We know segmentation is nothing but dividing the heterogeneous market into homogeneous group, so that we can make better appeal to each of these individualized segments. Understanding customers' desire is a vital goal of marketing. Segmenting or clustering the similar customers into group can help managers recognize useful patterns and identify attractive subsets within the larger market. With that particular understanding, managers can select target markets, develop appropriate offerings for each, determine most effective ways to reach the targeted segments and allocate resources accordingly. Conjoint analysis can be highly useful in the process of segmentation based on customer wants. We are dividing the market based on customer wants. Now, let us talk about the purpose of the segmentation using conjoint analysis. Fine. So, segmentation to identify the segments based on the conjoint analysis. As we will reiterate the points, conjoint analysis is used to determine consumers' preferences on the basis of attribute weightings that they reveal in their decision making process. These weights or utilities are generally evaluated on individual level, though in some cases it can also be evaluated in segment basis. Segmentation entails the grouping of customers who demonstrate similar patterns of preference and weighting with regard to certain product attributes distinct from the patterns exhibited by other groups. That there is a category who is looking into the color, black color, right. They always prefer a black color car over others. So, why not companies capitalize on this? So, for the color, company is not putting additional cost, but as black is a color which is preferred by multiple customers and they are ready to pay a premium. So, that is why most of the car companies are coming up with their model which is termed as black edition. These black editions may not have any other attributes better than its next lower edition, but still the price will be 1 lakh higher than the next lower edition. Why? Because the organizations can understand that the attribute level black of the attribute color is most preferred. So, utilities are more when the color is black. Using the segmentation, a companies can decide which groups to target and can determine an approach to appeal to the segment's members. After segments have been formed, a company can set strategy based on their attractiveness. For example, in terms of size, in terms of growth, in terms of purchase rate, diversity, and its own capability to serve these segments relative to the competitors. Now, to complete a segmentation based on the conjoint utilities, one must first determine the utility scores, like what is the importance for each of these attribute and what is the weightage given to each of these attribute level. In conjoint analysis, mainly you need to internalize only two things, that one is a product is defined in terms of attributes and each of these attribute will have multiple attribute levels which will derive various level of utilities. Fine. So, next one must cluster these customers into segments like-minded individuals. These are the people who are preferring black color car. So, this can be done using a methodology called cluster analysis or clustering. So, as far as cluster analysis is concerned, it is basically a data mining technique, unsupervised, that calculates the distances between customers and from groups by minimizing the differences within each group and maximizing the differences between the groups. Basically, it is measurement of similarity among various individuals in the target market and then trying to group them based on their similarity. Cluster analysis operates by calculating the distance. It can be Euclidean distance, it can be Manhattan distance depending on the context that you are into. Now, ultimately the conjoint analysis and the volume projection. The conjoint utilities of the products and the services can be used to forecast the market share that each will achieve and the volume that each will sell. Why we can do so? Because we already have a deeper understanding about customers' wants, customer preferences regarding different attributes and different attribute levels. Marketers can project market share for the given product or service on the basis of the proportion of individuals who select it from the relevant choice set as well as from its overall utility that is being derived from the utility set for each of these attribute level of various attributes. So, now the purpose of conjoint analysis and volume projection is to project the market share and the sales volume that will be achieved by the product or the service in a given time frame. We know that customers' wants also evolve over a period of time. So, if you analyze something today, probably 2 years down the line you have to reanalyze it, because customer that trend changes. Today I like a black color car, but tomorrow I might need a red color car, right. Similarly, today I like a sports look, I mean SUV look car, but tomorrow I might be preferring a coupe look car. Conjoint analysis is used to measure the utilities of the product. The combination of these utilities, generally additive, represents the scoring of sorts for the expected popularity of the product. The scores can be used to rank the products. However, further information is needed to estimate the market share. One can anticipate that top ranked products in a selection set will have a greater probability of being chosen by an individual than products ranked lower for that individual. I will prefer a 2-liter black color 20 lakhs rupees car over, let us say, 2-liter white color 22 lakhs car, right. So, this is about the conceptual framework or conceptualization of this important metric called conjoint analysis. So, yes, there are mathematical formula how we can actually calculate the part worth. So, we will not cover that, because we need to just understand the conceptual part of conjoint analysis, because this particular technique can be used for your product design, this particular technique can be used for your segmentation, this particular technique can be used for your pricing decision making process, which are critical decisions for a organization or a product category. It will determine the value creation or the sustainability of that particular product line or product, right. So, from the next week onwards, I will see you with a next topic. Thank you.